Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and we carry on with our countdown best of 2022 with Spider-Punk, an actual superhero comic book for a change, and one that you're probably expecting me to talk about politics about, because, it's got the word punk in the title, and it's kind of hard to think of punk without thinking about politics. I promise I'll do my best here. See if I can go this. Right, okay, so Spider-Punk, brilliant thing. Absolutely love it. It's Cody Ziegler, who's absolutely amazing. Dude even wrote an episode of She-Hulk, and I should have checked the art on this one because it is an art I particularly enjoyed. It is Justin Mason, or Jammin' Justin Mason, according to the credits on this one, who does a fantastic job on the artwork. Before I get too far into the individual details of why I love this one, I have to say I was a little bit torn on it because I love the character. One of the first experience I had of Hobie Brown was him defeating the Venom symbiote army thing with a sonic attack because he's a punk and using music for it, and I was like, yeah. Okay, that's not the most complicated idea in the world, but genuinely love it. Let's get more of this. When I found out they was doing a 5-issue miniseries, I was thrilled. At the point when I saw it was coming out, I wasn't overtly aware of Cody Ziegler, but I was going to check out a Spider-Punk comic anyway. And when it turns out it was only 5 issues, I was vaguely disappointed. I was expecting something bigger, and I wanted an ongoing. I wanted Hobie to have an entire run by himself. Turns out he's not going to run by himself, because it's only 5-issue miniseries, and he's not by himself. He's got a band in there as well, the Spider Band. And this is fantastic. It instantly starts with a really nice idea of getting a bunch of disparate people together and working together, doing a collective action, which is fantastic. Makes an awful lot of sense. It really doesn't take long for the idea that capitalist organisations can try and stop disenfranchised groups and other such things working together. Because we are far more powerful when we work together. There's more of us. We have buying power. We're actually what keeps capitalist people going. And yes, I said I wouldn't talk about politics. I didn't even make it 2 minutes. I'm really bad at this. I like talking politics. But this sense of community with African Americans, Latinx people, queer people, and Indigenous people all coming together to fight against authoritarian states, that is a really big part of what makes punk such a good thing, and why the Spider-Punk comic book could have failed at the first hurdle. It could have just been a cool thing about a bunch of people having alternate punk personas and basically just rewriting a little bit of Marvel history to have these characters go off and do cool things. Could have been just that. It really could have been. I doubt I'd have really been that annoyed at it. I'm not actually a punk myself. I like the aesthetic, I like the outlook, but I'm actually a metalhead. So I don't have this huge love of punk in the kind of way that people who live the life would. But the fact that it didn't make that mistake, straight out of the first hurdle, it was very much a collective thing against racists and fascists, not even authoritarian people at that point, just authoritarian bootlickers. It was yeah, brilliant, this is great, this is what I want. And then for 4 more issues, I got more and more of what I wanted. We had a road trip as the defining thing of the arc, that they go from point A to point B to defeat the big bad guy. And on the way, we did meet more of the this version of the Marvel Universe as punk owners, and they were fantastic. My absolute favourite is Daredevil, a femme presenting character who is deaf but plays the drums, and as somebody who does play the drums, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm down for this. And I also love Daredevil, one of my favourite Marvel characters of all time, and seeing them turn up and absolutely rip it was absolutely fantastic. The entire thing was upbeat and uplifting, apart from the bits that weren't, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But it is life-affirming from start to finish, at least. It kind of shows you that there is a reason to get up in the morning and do something if you feel like you shouldn't, or you shouldn't be allowed to, should I say. It gives you a reason to get up and join in with people and work together to make things better, which again is pretty much all it should have been doing as an absolute bare minimum, but it does it really, really effectively. And now I've got an awful lot of that out of the way, let's talk about the actual comic book and how it works, because yes, Ziegler is a fantastic writer. They absolutely do fantastic character work without having a whole bunch of space to do it in. It's a 5-issue miniseries, and we get introduced to a whole bunch of punk personas throughout it, but they're all well-rounded and individual in their own little way. They've all got their little twists on the basic concept. There's one quite early on when we meet Riri, not Ironheart, Riot Heart, yes, and not Captain America, Captain Anarchist. Brilliant names. But when we meet Riri, being the technologically gifted person that she is, she has this total vibe of being the only person living in the punk flats who knows how to turn the heating on. And it's just, I am totally there for that. It feels genuine and authentic. in a world where she has power armor. Love it, absolutely start to finish, and it looks fantastic too. Mason, I have to double check my naming here. I do apologise. Yes, Justin Mason does a fantastic job of absolutely uplifting the story through action and movement. He doesn't do an awful lot of motion lines, which is something which I'm grateful for. It's a bit of a bugbear for me in comic books. What he does is something similar to Daniel Warren Johnson, which I think is the WJ Fuzz, where it's basically, if it's moving, it's slightly out of focus and the edges are a little bit crinkled. It's subtle and simple, but it works for me. It shows motion without having to draw huge lines on a page saying, look, this is where the thing is moving, as if we couldn't tell that from positioning and timing. The few times where we do have that kind of thing in there, it's actually used as an example, as an excuse for onomatopoeia, which he uses perfectly throughout this entire book. It is absolutely chock full of them. It adds to that really playful style that it's got going on. And this is a fun comic book, and it should be seen as that. You should read it and laugh and enjoy it. And there's a bit, I think in issue 4 or 5, I can't remember off the top of my head, where there is 4 double-page spreads in a row, and each one, if you're looking to have access to 4 different comic books, you could lay them out, and it is just an 8-page spread. Love that. That's just entertaining. That's having fun with form. And now we're going to get to the bit where it isn't fun all the way through, because it can't be. This is a story of struggle against authoritarian regimes and literal fascists and capitalists. It does have dark moments in there, and here where I go to another one of my biggest compliments I can give any writer or any artist is that they are doing stuff which reminds me of Daniel Warren Johnson. One of my all-time favourite comic books is Murder Falcon, which they did, and that's because it managed to have these ridiculous, over-the-top, fantastical ideas, but grounds them by being some of the most emotional storytelling I've seen too. This is more fun than emotion. I'm not going to try and oversell this one, but when we get to the denouement and we are seeing how far down these characters have gone before they manage to lift themselves up, it is heartbreaking. But it's beautiful, and you always kind of know they're going to pick themselves up. I mean, yes, that's a kind of Spider-Man thing anyway, but Hobie Brown picking himself up did make my spine tingle. It was absolutely fantastic. This is, unlike Mindset, which I reviewed yesterday, which is very much into my own particular wheelhouse in terms of my political and economic interests, this is certainly political. I can't deny that it is. But it's also the one that I think you could care absolutely not one jot for the punk aesthetic or lifestyle and still get some enjoyment out of it if you're just a fan of comic books. Because it embraces the form and the medium really, really effectively to tell a beautiful story, chock full of action and adventure, and it looks beautiful. And if I haven't mentioned it already, the colouring, I'll check if that's a different person doing the colouring. I think it might be. Yes, Jim, oh man, I do apologise, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name correctly. Jim Charalampidis, I believe, something along those lines. I do apologise, I've literally should have looked at that before. But his colouring is fantastic as well, because it absolutely makes pages pop. And the changes in colour between action sequences and different rooms and everything like that. It feels like every single choice made is done for a reason, and it all adds to the story and makes the entire thing even better. Honestly, check this out. It's beautiful and amazing, and I love it. Again, apologies for the actual lack of other reviews. I'm kind of busy. It's Christmas at the moment. But I will carry on doing the rest of the best of the year, so keep an eye out for those, and I'll see you again soon. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.